Hi everyone from my home office, which is very small and unglamorous. So yeah, I'm really excited to be sharing some of my top tips with you today about working productively from home, even when you have a young child. So for those who don't know me, my name's Anwen Cooper. My business is called Get Fruitful Marketing, and I'm a marketing strategist. And I work from Maidstone most of the time in Kent. And I usually spend about a third of my time working from home in here, because a lot of my work is desk-based, and a lot of that is strategic thinking and writing strategies, and a little bit of copywriting and message writing and development. About a third of my time is usually spent out with clients. So sometimes that's actually going out to their offices and their premises to meet with them. And sometimes that's at my office, which is around the corner in the town centre in Maidstone. And probably about the other third of my time is spent out networking and going to business events. Sometimes I speak at business events. Sometimes I just go along to meet other people. And I'm also a member of a couple of mastermind groups. So yeah, I spend a third of my time usually in this room doing desk work, a third of my time out in my main office or in clients' offices, and a third of my time just circulating at other events. So obviously now I am looking to do pretty much all my work from home from this room. And I started my business about 6 years ago, just after I had my daughter. So she's 6 now. And I've kind of grown the business as she's grown. So in the very early days, I was very much part-time, sort of working a few hours a week. And then she went to preschool. I started to work more hours. And then when she went to school, I started to work pretty much full-time, but as much as I can within school hours. But obviously, you know, schools have holidays and children get sick, and there's other reasons sometimes when school is shut and there's work to be done. So I'm very much used to working with a child at home some of the time. Obviously, the new situation means that she's at home all the time. So that's going to be interesting to manage that. And also having my husband at home now working full time from home means that there's 3 of us in the house, and we're just kind of renegotiating our space and our time and how we kind of manage that. But I just thought I'd share 7 top tips from my own experience, things that I found have been helpful, and things that I do that work for me, in case that they might help you guys somehow. So feel free to type questions in the chat box if you have any questions as we go along. And yeah, we're going to have a chat at the end of the conversation as well with Carl, and open this up into a bit more of a discussion. So the first thing is actually not a tip just yet. I'll get into the first tip in a moment, but I just wanted to talk about the title of my slot today. So it's meant to be about working productively from home. And I just wanted to say that actually I've been thinking about that title. It was given to me by Carl, so it wasn't my choice or my suggestion to use those words. And I was just thinking about actually right now, given the strange circumstances in which a lot of us are having to work, where we are juggling childcare full-time and possibly having other people in our household working from home unexpectedly, I think we just have to be mindful of how productive we can genuinely be within those circumstances, and that we're not going to be working at the usual levels of productivity that we maybe are used to and maybe would like to expect from ourselves. So yeah, just being aware of that. So I actually thought that maybe this presentation should be called Working Sustainably from Home. So how can we sustain our energy levels, and how can we be as productive as we can, but just in a mindful way that actually, we don't necessarily have the sort of working situation that we're used to. I hope, can everyone sort of see me and hear me all right? So I'm just wondering if there's any issues. I'm just looking in the chat box. Yeah, hopefully all good. Yeah, cool. So starting with my first tip then about how do we work productively but sustainably from home in the current circumstances. So my first tip is actually a really good productive working day begins the night before for me. So I don't know about any of you guys, but historically I have suffered from anxiety, which has often been triggered by big global events in the news and also by big changes in circumstance in my own life. And obviously those two things coming together this week has meant that I have been suffering a bit this week, and I've been having insomnia and like panic attacks and crazy, horrible feelings. But it's been kind of up and down. So luckily I haven't been like that all the time. I have been able to do some work, and some of the time I've been feeling great, as I am now. And I think the thing that's a real factor for me is if I get good sleep. And if I don't get good sleep, then I have a really bad day the next day and I'm completely unproductive because I'm tired. And when I'm tired, I get into a negative cycle of thoughts, and that makes the anxiety worse, and then I'm useless. So yeah, getting good sleep is really important. So yeah, just be mindful of that. And I need to do certain things before I go to bed to make sure that I get good sleep, i.e. not reading the news or doing too much on social media, which is making my head spin. So tip number 1, a productive day starts the night before. So yeah, take the evening to chill as much as you can and get a good night's sleep. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, just have a really strong start to the day with a really good routine. So for me, I like to wake up and I have hot water with a slice of lemon and ginger in it, which I just find like rehydrates my body and makes my brain switch on. It helps me wake up, and obviously good for your immune system as well. So that's something I always do at the beginning of the day, and I just like to sort of start my day slowly. I never ever look at the news first thing. So I was saying to somebody the other day that the first time I suffered from this kind of anxiety was after 9/11, because I was a bit of a news junkie. I used to just watch the news all the time, and I would always have the TV on in the background. And I just found seeing all those images of what was going on in New York just really traumatizing. And it's like those images kind of became just embedded in my brain, and the channels just kept playing the same footage over and over again, which was just not good for me. So after 9/11, I stopped watching the TV news, and I stopped just having the TV on in the background. I would just watch specific programs at specific times. The second time I had this anxiety trauma thing was after 7/7, because I actually happened to be on the tube when it happened. Fortunately, not on one of the trains that was actually affected, but I was maybe 4 or 5 trains down the track. And I used to listen to Radio 4 as my alarm clock. So I would wake up in the morning and have the news on. So after 7/7, I stopped listening to the radio first thing in the morning. And now I think with this latest crisis, I now don't even like check on I used to look on BBC News app or on the Guardian website every morning. That would be one of the first things that I would do. I'm not doing that now because I can't cope with it first thing in the morning, and it just doesn't put me in the best frame of mind. So I'm now just choosing to quickly check the news in the middle of the day when my energy is a bit more up and my brain's in a better place. So not first thing in the morning and not last thing at night. So yeah, that's my second tip of the day. It just starts your day in a positive way. Look after your body and your mind. Top tip number 3, manage your energy through the day. So I read this really good book once called The Mind Gym, and it talks about how people fall into 2 different groups. So you can either be a night owl or a lark. Night owls obviously prefer to sleep in the morning, and they're a bit slower to get going, and they do their best work later in the day, or sometimes in the evening or late at night. My husband is a night owl. You know, he can quite easily work until midnight. Unfortunately, my daughter is also a night owl, so she can also stay up till midnight. I am probably somewhere more in between, but the larks are more like the early risers, and they like to do their best work first thing in the morning, and then their energy kind of dissipates throughout the day. So I think just being aware of yourself and what your natural energy is like, and then play to your natural strength. Also think about whether you're more of an introvert or an extrovert. And, I think some people like to be talking more like this on video, and other people maybe process their thinking through writing or talking on the phone. So just thinking about kind of what gives you energy and what drains your energy, and just being really mindful about how you use your energy through the day, and maybe pick the best time of day to do your most difficult task. So yeah, if you're someone who finds something difficult and you're a night owl, then maybe you leave your difficult thing until later in the day, which is your best part of the day for doing difficult things. And if you're more of a lark and you've got a challenging thing to do, maybe you do it first thing in the morning. So yeah, just managing your energy through the day, and that will be different for different people depending on your natural rhythm. And linked to that, managing your energy through the day, just making sure you're taking breaks. So I used to be an absolute workaholic. I'm lucky that I love my work. I've always done jobs that I love, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, because I love my work so much that I sometimes just get so absorbed into it, I forget everything else. So there was a time when I would go to work and could easily go for like 5 or 6 hours and I would not get up from my chair. And it got to a point where I had to literally set an alarm on my phone to remind myself to take a lunch break and to go to the bathroom, which sounds a bit crazy, but that's how like mentally absorbed I can get in my work, is that I can literally just go for like 5 or 6 hours without stopping, which is not healthy if you do that again and again, day in, day out. So that's why I said at the beginning, you need to be thinking about working productively, but in a sustainable way, because yeah, you can be really productive in those 5 or 6 hours if you're working non-stop. You can be churning work out, but it's not healthy to be doing that day in, day out. It's not sustainable. You will burn out, which is what I did. So yeah, after probably, I've lost track of time, maybe 7 or 8 years working in marketing like that in a very intense way, I did kind of burn out, and I decided I was going to retrain as a yoga teacher and stop being a marketer. Then when I had my daughter, I realised that actually I do love marketing, and it's just who I am, it's what I do, and I wanted to carry on doing it, even though I took a little bit of time out and dabbled with being a yoga teacher. That's my job. So I guess now I'm trying to kind of take elements of both my yoga training and my marketing expertise and do my marketing work in a more mindful way. So I'm rambling a bit here. Fourth tip is kind of a reiteration of the third tip about managing your energy and thinking about when's your best time of day to do your most challenging work. So the fourth tip is first things first, which I think comes from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think that's his first tip. I need to remember that. So he says first things first, I think. So it's about doing the most important thing first. So just over the last week, because my normal routine has gone a bit crazy and out of the window, I've actually written a little note to myself on my desk above me, which is number 1, manage time really effectively, focus on the positive, number 2, and number 3, focus on priorities and duties. So yeah, first things first, just what is your number 1 priority? I think particularly when you're juggling small children and they're obviously needing your attention. My daughter's downstairs watching TV, by the way, because we decided to home educate her this week. We just felt that was a socially responsible thing to do, and she's had a cough and we were starting to get funny looks, even though she's completely healthy. She always has a cough at this time of year. So yeah, it's really hard, I think, sometimes juggling different people needing your attention, whether that's work or children, at the same time. So you just have to, at the beginning of the day, just pick that one thing that's the most important thing, and if you only get that thing done, then that's great. You can't necessarily tick everything off your to-do list. So just, yeah, being really clear at the beginning of the day, what's the one most important thing? If you don't get anything else done, what's that one thing? Tip number 5, task batching. So rather than sort of dipping in and out of different things too much, just try and lump things together. So like I try and do all like my invoicing and financial stuff on a certain day of the week or a certain time in the week. I try and do emails at certain times rather than just having my email open all the time. And yeah, just sort of trying to group your tasks together rather than just constantly having lots of things open and dipping in and out. Number 6, celebrate your achievements. Like I said at the beginning, a couple of top tips ago, you know, just even if you get one thing done, celebrate that one thing. And just take time at the end of the day to reflect and review what you've done, even if you haven't achieved as much as you hoped. So it's getting dark in here. It's gone really cloudy outside. I'm just going to put the light on. I don't know if that helps brighten things up a little bit. And the 7th final top tip is to chunk up your day. I think I'm going to have to do this a bit more now. But usually I see clients in the morning after I drop my daughter at school. Then I have lunch at 1. And then I use the afternoon for sort of email and admin and little bitty things. But now that I'm going to be managing my daughter here full time, I think I'm going to chunk my day up into hourly blocks, and probably my husband and I will sort of take it in turns to give my daughter some attention or direction and set her up with different activities through the day. And I think we're just going to be more disciplined with taking breaks at specific times. So yeah, usually I have lunch at 1ish. But I tend not to have breaks at specific other. Well, I suppose I do. I have a break around school pickup times. I usually pick my daughter up, so I usually bring her back and then have a cup of tea and then maybe do a few emails and admin stuff after that. So yeah, we're just going to all have to rethink our routine, but use this opportunity to be creative and rethink how we live and work together, which I think is exciting as well as potentially a bit stressful in the short term while we adjust to this new reality. So just to summarize then, my 7 top tips and the point that I made at the beginning. Yes, we need to be productive. We need to continue as normal as much as possible with our work, because you know we all have a part to play in society. Even if you feel like, what's the point, my job doesn't really feel particularly relevant to the crisis that a lot of people are facing right now, I think actually no, we do all play a part in keeping the world ticking along, and you know, contributing our expertise and our experience and our skills and our knowledge and our passion to help other people in whatever way that is. So yeah, we do need to continue to work productively, but we need to do it in a sustainable way. So that's the first point that I really want to make clear. So the 7 top tips to recap. Number 1, a productive day starts the night before. So take the time to have a relaxing evening as much as possible and switch off and get a good night's sleep. And actually that's a point that I want to speak to, is I think in the early days of having my daughter, I did something that was a bit of a mistake for me, and I'm starting to see it on a lot of mums groups and parenting groups that I'm in, where people are saying, oh, well, I'll work in the evenings when my children are in bed. For me personally, that doesn't work. Past a certain point, I can maybe do like an hour or so in the evening, but if I work too late into the evening, it really affects my sleep. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Number 2, have a strong morning routine to set you up for a good day, taking care of your body and your mind. Number 3, manage your energy throughout the day, being mindful of the kind of person that you are when your natural energy peaks and sort of ebbs and troughs are, and schedule regular breaks. Number 4, first things first, just clarify your one priority for the day and try your best to get that one thing done, and just anything else is a bonus. Number 5, batch your tasks up, so you're not dipping in and out of lots of things and getting overwhelmed. Just focus on one thing at a time. Number 6, celebrate your achievements, review and reflect at the end of the day, and just take stock of everything that you've achieved, or even that one thing. If it's just one thing that you've achieved, great. And finally, number 7, chunk up your day. So you've got different things happening at different times. So if you're working with other people in your family, you can kind of understand everyone's priorities and structure of the day and support each other, I suppose. So yeah, I'm going to stop there. Carl, do you want to have a conversation about that? Ask me questions. And does anyone else who's watching have any questions?
Yeah, I'm here now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I can also hear myself, which I've done badly. I'm going to mute my headphones so I can hear you. Bear with me 2 seconds. I had some people come back messages saying they really respected your honesty, and they just thought, I think working from home can be so different for so different people, and they need to get different perspectives. And I'm glad you shared yours. Thank you for coming on and doing it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay. A lot of people, so mentioning about how I think it's going to affect. I think kids is probably going to be the hardest one. People mentioning that the batching up ideas is really good for them, and I like that. So that's good. I think we probably you were worrying about not filling the timer, and you found out you did it all perfectly. So we haven't got a huge amount of time left to ask you questions. But,
sorry, rambled on.
The best thing to ask you is where can we find you? If you want to have a conversation with about the things you talked about today, how can they do so? So like let you know your social channels or website. Oh, have I lost you, Anwen?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Can you tell us your social channels or your website?
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I didn't realise that was a question.
That's all right.
Yes. So I am on LinkedIn, Anwen Cooper, my personal profile. Twitter @GetFruitfulNow. Facebook, I have a Facebook page, Get Fruitful Marketing, and also a group. The group is called the Fruitful Marketers Playground. But I might be changing the name of that on Monday.
Cool.
I'm just about to launch an online program, which is for sole traders, micro businesses, startups. And I'm thinking I might change the name of it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
well, people know
they can find me.
People know where they can find you now. So if you have any questions for Anwen, please do get in touch with her.